organization with our deep experience in recycling and waste services to protect our environment and our neighbors. That's our job, and that's our promise. This is Mike Klassen with Middle Point Landfill. We invite you to learn more about us at middlepointlandfill.com. For public services, we are sustainability in action.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome into the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzier, founder and executive director of First Shot. A longtime friend, Judge Don Ash, joins me today. And Judge, I'll never forget you putting your arm around me. And probably one of the most difficult times of my life, when I was going through divorce. And you said some things to me, and the wisdom that you shared with me has all come true. And I want to thank you for that day.
Yeah, great. I saw the pictures of your daughter's weddings. What a great day that was, wasn't it?
It was an awesome day. My son is coaching.
Really?
And high school basketball, and he's so much better than I am. And you said all that was going to come true. Yep. And so first of all, I get to thank you again. I get to thank you publicly.
No problem. You're my friends.
Because going through those times, you need people like Don Ash. And Judge, I want to say thank you. So let's get to you off of me, because nobody wants to hear about me. Take us back. You said something off air to me. Your first election, you were running for state
representative.
State representative.
Yeah.
Talk about that. What I always want to know why people want to run for something.
Sure. I had always, growing up in Lebanon, Tennessee, I'd been a fellow named Bob Rochelle's a lawyer over there, and they had a YMCA youth legislature, and we would go there every summer, and you'd get to be the senator or the House Speaker or something like that. And so I went a couple of times. I was a senator, and I thought that was just the coolest thing. And I looked around. I thought, most of these people are lawyers, so I need to go to law school. And then my goal one day was to be governor or senator or something like that. And so as life rocked on, I thought in 1992, they redrew the districts in Rutherford County. And so there was an incumbent named Mike Lyles, nice guy. And he was a Republican. I ran as a Democrat. And that was 1992. And so I thought that would be a good way to get involved in politics. And to be honest, Andy, I think I'm kind of like you. If I look at what you've done with First Shot, you kind of want to help people. And you kind of want to leave a legacy of helping people or making a difference in people's lives. And I always wanted to do that. And so that was the first race. Bart Gordon was congressman then. They helped tremendously. Rita Ash, my wife, just worked her tail off on that. And we lost by like 250 votes. And then 2 years later, this judgeship comes open. And to be honest, I didn't really want to be judge. I didn't really like judges. They seemed grumpy to me. I liked being out in the public and shaking hands and kissing babies and all that. But I had some friends tell me, Don, you lost that first race. Maybe people feel sorry for you this time and vote for you, where they didn't last time. So ran the primary, won that, ran the general, won that. And it's funny how a lot of times we think we know what we want or what's best for our lives or whatever. And I think God laughs when he hears us with that thought. But for me, the judgeship in 94 has turned out to be one of the great blessings of my entire life. I've been able to be involved in things and do things that are just beyond anything a little boy from Lebanon raised by a widow could ever have imagined. I mean, it's just a unbelievable gift. Campaign's terrible, very hard, very expensive. I think it's harder on your family because people say mean things about you and it really hurts their feelings. If they say enough about you, it just kind of rolls off your back, but it hurts your family's feelings. And you don't want to disappoint. You don't want to lose. Losing's not fun. But, like I said, the judge thing has been a blessing. And I had people, Mike Lyles, and I had people in the state legislature say, Don, the best thing ever happened to you was losing that 92 race so you could be a judge in Rutherford County.
So when you talk about running for judge and being a judge, that the learning curve, walk us through the learning curve, your first time sitting on that bench.
Yeah.
And what you've learned
Pretty
from
scary.
it.
Pretty scary. I was 39 years old, so really young to go on the bench. I remember standing at the door, getting ready to walk in there. When you walk in, the bailiff goes, all rise. I walk in there and they all go, all rise. I about threw up. I thought, I have no idea what I'm doing here. It's probably the first time you coached. I bet you probably felt the same way when they rolled the ball out there and go, oh my gosh, these people know what they're doing. But I've always been one to be overly prepared for everything. One of my many faults. I just kind of prepare. And so I had a pretty good idea of what's going on. But looking back, even campaigning, I look back and think, okay, I did this. I shouldn't have done that. Should have done this a different way. But it's all kind of a learning process. Now I have the opportunity. I guess I've been around so long now. There are a lot of newer judges in Tennessee. Like 2 called me yesterday and said, Judge Ash, I said, just call me Don. Let me tell you this case I've got or this issue I've got. Tell me what you'd do. And so that's kind of where my role is now. I'm a senior judge now, which doesn't mean I don't sit in Rutherford County now. I go across the state and try cases. There's like 6 of us that do it. I just had a death penalty case in Oak Ridge about a month ago. So we just kind of go across the state and try cases where other judges recuse themselves, but it's part-time. It's supposed to work 120 days a year. But when I go to the conference, I speak a lot about different procedures or how we should do things. I've written a lot. So that too has been part of the blessing. I think I would imagine you feel that way with coaching. You kind of can take your knowledge and share it with other people.
Well, what I'm hearing is you're mentoring.
Yeah.
And
isn't that crazy?
I think it's what we really don't do well in America anymore.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
Because you're from one party, I'm from the other, so now we're not going to listen to each other. How stupid is that after 30 years of sitting on the bench that we don't share wisdom?
When people ask me what party I'm with, I go, I'm an American.
Thank you.
That's what I am. I'm an American. We were having the judicial conference up in Memphis, and this young judge had 2 little kids, and introduced me to his wife as kind of the dean of the judicial conference. I thought, man, that sounds old. That I'm the dean of the judicial conference. But it's an honor, really. Like I told him, it's an honor for people to call and ask me stuff. And if you do this for 30 years, I mean, there's very little I've not seen. So I've not made a mistake on that I'll learn from.
So, Judge, it takes me back to the first time I've ever really witnessed a judge, someone going after him when I was to my best friend in high school who went on to play at Utah, was a great player. They firebombed his house.
Oh, my gosh, really?
Because he ruled against this group.
Right.
This group didn't like it.
Right.
They went after him. Tell us some stories now that you can talk about. Tell us how people have they come at you the same way?
Yeah, they have. And
your family. That's the sad thing.
That's the big thing. I don't really care about me. My faith's pretty good. I know where I'm going to end up. So I get taken out. I don't feel sorry for me. I've had a spectacular life. I just don't want anybody to hurt my family. But we've had threats at the house. We've had to have police around the house before. This one guy was posting videos about me on YouTube. But that's kind of part of the job. And really, if somebody's going to hurt you, it's not going to be the person that threatens you. It's going to be the person that doesn't threaten you, that walks up behind you and shoots you at Kroger's. That's where that's going to happen. But we're doing better. The federal government's passed legislation now to protect judges. The state legislature is now looking at a bill to protect judges. We really don't need to have our addresses public, just things like that. And small. And then we need to have the if you threaten a judge, the penalty needs to be more than what it is now. Now it's a Class A felony, which means the most you get would be 1 year, and most people get probation on that. So it's not, it's not good. My most recent threat was a guy, and we couldn't really get anything done on him, but he was driving through Smith County, strangely enough, got stopped by the police. In the back of his car, he had a gun with a silencer, had some meth and something else. And so he got charged federally. So he's in the federal prison now for about 5 years. So he'll leave me alone for the next 5.
So Judge Ash, let's go to your early judge. What were the proceedings? Because I know you proceeded over my divorce.
Yeah.
It was civil mainly.
Yeah. When I first started, that's kind of what they did with the new judges. They said, okay, we need you to do all the divorces. So that was Judge Clayton, Chancellor Corlew, and Judge Daniels, because they were all doing other things. So as a new judge, they created a new judgeship. So I come up here, and I'll be honest, I was happy to do anything. But so I started doing divorce work. The interesting thing about this, Andy, and I don't know if you know this, but I'd gotten divorced in '86. Rita and I have been married now for over like 36 years, so been a long time. But I saw that, and I'd gone out to the National Judicial College to learn. They have a baby judges school where you go out there for 3 weeks and learn how to be a judge. So I went out there for that, and they had a program where you could get your master's degree. And I'm one that thinks you need to continue your education, even though you're gray-haired or bald or whatever you are. And so part of that was to write a thesis. So I wrote a thesis about why we needed to change the custody laws in Tennessee. Because back when I was first judge, the way it would work would be the non-custodial parent would get reasonable and liberal visitation. I don't even know what that means. And so I worked on that, and I took the old Tennessee law and rewrote it, kind of copied the Washington statute. And now we have parenting plans and mediation and child support guidelines and all this stuff. And I'm not the only one that did it, but I'm the one who wrote the legislation. And so one day the legislator called me, got a copy of it, he filed it, and now it's been a law in Tennessee almost 20 years. So it's very ironic, I think, that the people in Rutherford County didn't want me to be a state legislator, but I got to write a bill that's had impact on Tennesseans for 25 years in regard to divorce law.
Well, I think the greatest thing that you did as a judge was the parenting class.
That's it. Oh, you got to do that's right. You have to go to the parenting class.
I went through it, and there's two things that have stuck with me in it that I learned in that class. I believe education's the freedom that comes with it.
No question.
And A was not to keep going back fighting.
Yeah.
Stay out of court. It's the best thing for your kids.
Run from it.
Run from it. The second thing I learned was it was going to take me 2 to 3 years to discover who I was as an individual again. And it's amazing, Judge. Men show up on my door that I walk through this process, through the God's Word. But it's two things I tell them all the time is those two things. Is if you got to take the high road.
No question.
And if you take the high road, my good friend Don Ash said your kids are going to come back.
They will.
And love you more.
Yeah, and the great thing is what a wonderful example. And let's say the divorce is your fault. What a wonderful example for you to show to your children to say, my fault, but I still love you, and I'm still going to continue to love you, and I'm not going to leave you because you don't meet my expectations. We as parents need to be the constant in our children's lives, and when I say constant, we don't need to have expectations saying, okay, if you don't do this, I'm never going to do this anymore. We need to be instead, I love you. You made a mistake. We're going to get through this together. I don't want you to do it again. I don't want to enable you, but I'm going to stand with you. And to show that and to show forgiveness. What a wonderful example for parents. I mean, that's the best example, to show forgiveness and to admit our faults. If you can do those two things, you're a great mom or dad. If you've taught them a life lesson they'll carry forever.
Well, Again, your wisdom it's been profound, because I'm not the only one that had to walk through it and learn from it. And again, I'm one of those. I'm just not going to go and check in. I'm a little bit like you. If I'm going to go do something, I'm going to put my heart and soul into it a little bit. So it was really good for me. Talk about running as a judge, and you know, I'm kind of like you. I don't think a judge, a sheriff, quite honestly, a city councilman, really, county commissioner, should be running on a Republican or Democrat side. I'm just one of those, because they're not doing Republican and Democrat issues.
Yeah,
they're really managing.
I tell people all the time that when you come to court, I don't go, okay, are you a Republican or Democrat or whatever, or a Muslim or a Christian or whatever you are, you get a step up. That's not the way our legal system is. Everybody, you walk in the door, everybody's to be treated the same. But running as a judge, very interesting. We can't under our old cans of ethics, you can't ask for money. See, you have to have a committee that does that, but you still know. I mean, if I have a fundraiser and you come in the door, I'm pretty sure you wrote a check. So you have that, and then you can't promise. Okay, I can't say every murder case that I have, I'm going to sentence them to death. I can't promise that, because individual cases, you never know what's going to walk in the door. So you can't make any promises about that. What you can promise to do is do justice and work hard and those type things. I think part of the reason I won in 92, a couple of reasons. One, 94. First of all, I ran in 92, and people knew my name. The other thing is, I'd always been involved.
How old were you then?
37, yeah. And then, I was a kid. It's funny now, my kids are that age. I think, oh my gosh, they couldn't be judge of anything. Just kidding. They'd do a great job. But, it was very, very unusual to go around and shake hands and ask people for their vote. And Rita, my wife, was raised in Rutherford County, and she is from the Hayes family and Harrison family. And so there's a lot of Harrisons and Hayeses. So she always claims the only reason I won was because of her family name. So that's probably true, too. And
let's just be honest.
Yeah.
She is your better half.
No question. Home run.
Right, home run.
Touch all the bases, hit the three-pointer, the whole thing. And then the other thing, too, and I enjoyed this. I had been the first campaign chair for United Way that raised $1 million. When we first started the Boys and Girls Club, there were 4 of us that met to start that thing. And it was myself, Brian Hercules, Kennedy from United States Gas, Joe Swanson. I think that was the 4 guys that met to start the Boys and Girls Club. So I was involved.
Still movers and shakers in our town.
Yeah. But that's another thing about Murfreesboro. Just think about that. 4 guys meet in the old United Gas building, which is Hoover Paint Store now, and say, we should have like back then it was a boys club. A guy from Nashville who runs the boys club comes down and talks to us. We start, we'd say, okay, we're going to do it. We start a club. We have 50 members. We don't have enough money to hire an executive director, but we squeeze one in. That was Steve McKinney. Hired Steve. And now you look at that thing. Those 2 clubs in Murfreesboro and Smyrna, they serve more kids every day than any other community in the state. More than Memphis, more than Knoxville, more than Chattanooga, more than Nashville. I mean, that is an amazing thing. It says so much about Murfreesboro. I'm sure you've seen that first shot. You have an idea and a dream, and then it just goes.
Well, I think the greatest thing is and I hope we can touch more on it, is how we get more young people in their 20s and 30s becoming active, Judge,
right,
in this role. Because you think about it, you were in your 30s, early 40s when you started the boys club, and it is a model.
32. He's 32.
We're the model.
We are.
For the country, not just the state of Tennessee. We're the model for the country because of how how this community gives, how the people that it's amazing to me. I mean, I'm a fired assistant basketball coach, Judge. We
I remember.
Right? We serve over.
Well, look at that.
We serve over 1,000 kids a year.
Yeah, but the great thing about that, Andy,
And it's because of guys like you.
Yeah, but the great thing is that you stayed here. That's the great thing about Murfreesboro. People come here with different jobs, and jobs change, and then they come back, and they want to be a part of this community because they know exactly what you said. There's a inertia here of people that want to help other people and have a positive impact, like this radio station. I mean, this thing is incredible about all the stuff that it does. My friend, I was listening one day, and Coach Steve Peterson. You remember Coach Pete?
Coach Pete, great guy.
My friend,
greatest.
My friend, he died, 8-9 years ago. And I was listening one day, and it was his birthday, and they had played, and WGNS was playing an interview that Truman Jones had done with Coach Peterson. And I thought, wouldn't that be nice to let his family have that? So I called Scott up here, and he didn't have to do this. I called Scott. I said, do you have any interviews for Coach Peterson? Oh, yeah, I got 3. I go, would you send those to me? And he went to the trouble to pull those and send them to me so I could send them to their family. And he did the exact same thing when my friend Mark Pirtle died. The exact same thing. He took together those interviews, gave them to me, and I sent them to Mark's family. You know, what kind of radio station makes that kind of sacrifice? Does that? I mean,
it's the good neighbor.
It's the good neighbor station. That's exactly right.
So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with Judge Don Ash.
First Shot, growing in Christ with life and athletic skills.
So we teach God's Word at everything we do to implant it in them so that they understand that the only way to get through the world is with God on their side.
First Shot founder and executive director Andy Herzer.
Our focus is on our inner city here at Patterson Park.
From academics to athletics, First Shot's focus is toward building a stronger, more courageous spirit to face opportunities and obstacles that our youth confront every day. To find out more about First Shot, go to firstshottn.org.
Choosing the right insurance can be overwhelming. That's where Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance comes in. At Rayburn, we're not just about policies, we're about people. Rick Hall will take the time to understand your needs and find the best coverage at the best price. We've been serving our community since 1973. So why not let Rick Hall take the stress out of insurance? Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency, where you're more than just a policy number. You're our neighbors.
1 Thessalonians 3-4 reminds us that ye should abstain from fornication, that every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor. Come on, friend. Come to Hilltop Roswell Park in Smyrna for the Preparing for Jesus to Come Count meeting, October 3rd through the 6th. For more details, go to countmeeting.philadelphiamessage.org.
Visit countmeeting.philadelphiamessage.org for details.
I am Charlotte Gardner. I've lived at Adams Place for 3 years. It is the friendliest place you ever could hope to be.
Was the decision to move difficult?
No, it was just a really good change. I never, ever regretted a day of moving here.
Hi, this is Terry Deal at Adams Place. Call me for more information about Adams Place. Phone 615-904-9111.
Adams Place on Memorial across from Walmart.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and AmeriCare Pest Control.
I've got pests. AmeriCare is Rutherford County's #1 choice in pest control, and it's simple to see why. After calling 893-7111, their staff came to my house 8 years ago when I had an insect problem. They looked at the situation, showed me the areas and what they'd recommend to resolve the problem. After treatment and with quarterly checks, I'm bug, critter, and creepy crawly free. Thanks, AmeriCare.
Call the best of the best to get rid of your pest.
AmeriCare, 893-7111.
For over 77 years, WGNS has been your source of what's happening here at home. But we still are. And thanks for tuning in. And this weekend brings the 4th annual Charity Golf Tournament, sponsored by the School Resource Officers Division of the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. The check-in time is 7 o'clock Saturday morning, and the shotgun start is at 8. And that's all at Champions Run in Rockville. That's this Saturday. There's a classic car show this Saturday from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. That's over at Adams Place, 1927 Memorial Boulevard. Donations would be appreciated because they go to the Alzheimer's Fund. Oh, the Little Shop of Horrors opens this Friday at the Arts Center of Cannon County in neighboring Woodbury. It continues through October the 19th. The Little Shop of Horrors at the Arts Center of Cannon County. This reminder, you need to get those flu shots. It's supposed to be a rough year for flu, so get your flu shot. You can get them free at the Rutherford County Health Department. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Few spotty rain showers possible late this afternoon. Partial sunshine develops a high in the upper 70s. Tonight, partly cloudy skies develop a low near 63. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 67.
Broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios, MTE Sharing Change has now donated more than $11 million to local nonprofits assisting worthy causes in our community. MTE, serving to make life better since 1936.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into WGNS and the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzier, founder and executive director of First Shot, and I'm here with Judge Ash. I just want to tell you, one of my heroes. Oh, yeah. And I know you hate being told that sometimes because you're a really humble man. But I stayed here because of guys like you, Bud Morris, Bob Lamb.
But we have a lot of opportunities too. That's the thing. I mean, if you have opportunities and you take advantage of them, that doesn't make you a hero. That just makes you somebody who took advantage of the opportunities that you got.
Yeah, but you took here. I think a lot of people take advantage of opportunities for self.
That's probably true,
right?
Yeah.
And you're not that guy,
no,
Judge Ash. I mean, a lot of people. I say this often. Sometimes you give them a badge or you put a robe on them. Their true inner self comes out, and sometimes that's not pretty.
That's true.
Yours was pretty, and so there's why I can look at you and again say thank you for your service.
President Taft, I don't remember which president he was, probably in the 30s, I would guess. And he said, after he left the presidency, he got appointed to the United States Supreme Court. First time it's ever happened in the history of America. And after he finished his service on the Supreme Court, he said, being a judge made me be a better man than I ever thought I could be. And that's applied to me. I think being on the bench has helped me become a better man than I ever thought I could be. I ran a drug court here for like 14 years. I didn't understand addiction. I understand addiction now. Addiction's cancer. And when people have cancer treatment and it comes back, we don't tell them, you didn't work hard enough on your recovery. We try to love them up and try to get back in that. And that's what happens with addiction. People are going to relapse. And a lot of times we think people that are addicted to drugs or different things are weak-spirited or weak moral people, and that's just not the case. Most of the time it's a chemical thing, and many times it's related to an underlying mental issue that everybody has. Everybody's got some ups and downs in their lives, whether it be depression or whatever it is. And so getting to do that, if you think about my career, getting to do the parenting plan, who gets to do that really? And then next getting to do a drug court. And with drug court, we started here. A lady named Mary Snyder came to me one day. She's now deceased, but a great lady. And she said, I read about you like to do things. Here's something. We're going to do this. And so we go up to Kentucky. We started the first there was one residential drug court in Tennessee. It was in Nashville by Judge Seth Norman. We started the first non-residential drug court here. And now in Tennessee today, there's over 60. I mean, I bet I had 10 or 15 judges come down and watch what we were doing down here and copy that and go there. But I mean, who gets that? Who gets that opportunity to do that? And so being a judge has really helped me. It's helped me think about being a better person, being a better father, being a better friend to people. Not perfect, still fail miserably a lot, but really blessed. I'm truly blessed man to live in Murfreesboro and to get to do what I get to do.
So talk about the drug addiction court and how that works and how it differs from just that.
Yeah. Well, what we used to do was, and I was one of the sinners. I used to think if you were on probation and you came in with a dirty drug screen, which means you used, that means you're an idiot and you just need to go to jail. Now, after doing this for 14 years now, what we do is, and now it's expanded. Now we have now we just don't have just a drug court. They call it recovery court. Now they have a court for mentally ill people who get arrested and how to help them. We have a court for veterans who get in trouble and do that. I mean, just amazing type things. And it just started in this little tiny office. Now the drug court, recovery court's over there where Tommy John's old office used to be. I can't remember the name of the street, but it's over there across from the cemetery. And they've got probably 50, 60 people working there. But we need to figure out a way to help people that are addicted and not just put them in jail. Because if we do, when they get out, they go back to their same neighborhood and start using again. And that makes sense because you're going to go back to your friends. And what you want to try to do is you want to give them the tools where they can try to change their lives. And does it work for everybody? Absolutely not. You have failures. I've been to funerals. I mean, it's not a perfect system, but it's a way to try to make a difference to just one person. And for me, that's a great joy. Rita and I had gone to some wedding engagement party she made me go to, and it's down here on Main Street. We come walking out. This car comes flying up. All four doors fly open, and four people just jump out at once. And Rita's backing up, and I'm just standing there. And it was four of my people from drug court who had graduated. They just wanted to say hello to me. You know, that's the great thing, knowing that you had an impact on somebody's life. And it may not be, kind of like in the Bible, it talks about when you throw out seeds, some get thrown out in the weeds and don't do anything, or some get burned up or something. But there's some that will there eventually be a harvest. So I may not see the harvest on all of them, but I can give all of them the seeds. And I think it's kind of like what you do at First Shot. You're kind of planting seeds in these children. And you may not see the results, but maybe their children maybe they'll pass that seed on to their children, stuff like that. And that's pretty important work, I think.
We had a superintendent here, and she had a great big heart, and she has passed. And she said, "We're going to save them all, Andy." I said, "No, that's not biblical. It's just what you said. I'm here for the ones that want to be saved, and we're going to sow into them." And I think that's what you've done over your career. You have such a gentle spirit about you, Don. It's amazing. I mean, I don't have it. I'm gruff. I'm rough. I'll hit you between the eyes. And here you have this gentle spirit. Where did you get that from?
Well, it's evolved. Because if you ask, like you said, the first 5 or 6 years, 7 years, I did mostly divorces and civil, and then I started doing criminal work here and did it the last 10 years of my time on the bench here. And there would be some lawyers that would tell you that I never yelled at anybody, but I expected when you came to court to be prepared, and we were going to work, and it wasn't playtime. And so I think that, I'm not sure it scared them, but some of the legal community here thought that I was gruff or whatever, and to be honest with you, that bothered me that people would have that perception of me. But it goes to the learning part. I was up in Bar Harbor, Maine, teaching a course for the National Judicial College. And at the end of the day, some people wanted to go out and go look at lighthouses. So I wanted to be a good guy, so I go out. I normally get seasick. I didn't on that thing. But we go out to look at a lighthouse, and it's out in the middle of the water. You can't see the shore anymore. There's rocks all the way around it. And I'm thinking I'm going to die out there on this rock thing. But we didn't. We come back. But coming back, I thought, how does that lighthouse handle adversity? What it does, it gets pounded. Lightning storms, wind, hurricanes. How does it strike out and go stop, yelling at it and all that? No, what it does, it just shows that light to help people. And that's all it does, just keeps on showing that light no matter how it's getting pounded. And I thought about my time on the bench. A lot of times on the bench, people will make objections or do something, and I'll go overruled, bam, or just it's equivalent to being a tank. You know how a tank can just shoot something, blow it up, and move on. Well, it's efficient. It's really efficient because I can move on and take care of something else. But do I want to be in my life and on the bench? Do I want to be a lighthouse or a tank? And so now up there on the bench, every time I get on the bench, I have a laminated picture. It's got a lighthouse and a tank. And I set it there to remind me, Don, you want to be a lighthouse. So it's easy to fall into tank mode. And it's easy to fall into tank mode as a parent, as a husband, as a friend, and certainly as a judge.
And a coach.
As a coach. But you can do so much more and leave such a lasting impression, such a legacy by being a lighthouse. So after 30 years on the bench, part of that time being a tank, I'm doing my best to be a lighthouse now. That's my goal, is to be a lighthouse.
Well, I hope people are listening because I think it could really help if we had all become lighthouses in our the turmoil of what our political scene is today, and shed a little light. Talk about your shifting from civil to criminal on the bench.
Yeah, basically what happened was I'd done domestic relations. I'd done the parenting plan bill. I was involved in all that, involved in child support. And Judge Steve Daniels, who had done criminal for a number of years, our two criminal court judges back then were Judge Daniels and Judge Clayton. And our civil judges were myself, Chancellor Corlew, and Judge Royce Taylor. So Judge Daniels wants to retire or take senior judge status, which he did. The governor appoints Mark Rogers, and Mark did nothing but civil stuff. And I was the only one who had ever practiced criminal law as a lawyer. The other guys had not. And so it was kind of, okay, will you do this? So I said, okay. So got involved in it and really enjoyed it. I tell people criminal law is easier because the book's smaller. The criminal law book is smaller. And so and I enjoyed working with the district attorney's office, Guy Dotson and Bill Weitzel, the public defender's office with Gerald Melton and J.D. Driver and all those people. I enjoyed working with them. It's different because when you send somebody to jail, and I struggle with that. One time somebody asked me how many years had I sent people to prison for over my career. I said, I got no idea. And they had calculated it. It's almost 7,000 years. That's a lot of years, but it's thousands of people. It's probably 10 or 15,000 people. And most of those are not long sentences. Most of them are a year or 2 years or whatever. But last week, 2 weeks ago, for the first time, before that, I'd had 2 death penalty cases here in Murfreesboro. One was the Captain D's killing, where they killed 2 people, I think, 3 people. And the other one was the O'Charlie's murder, where they killed the manager at O'Charlie's. So they had the death penalty trial on that. We did both those. The jury brought back life without parole. So, okay. So I had this trial in Oak Ridge about a month ago, and the jury brings back the death penalty. And I'd never had anybody bring back the death penalty before. And I'm the one asked to, and the jury determines death, but I'm the one that's got to sentence him. And I had to look across the aisle at him and say, I hereby sentence you to death by lethal injection pursuant to TCA code such and such. I mean, I thought, man, this is serious if I'm sentencing him to death. I've got to go back up there in a couple of weeks because he had 2 other charges, and so I've got to sentence him in regard to those aggravated kidnapping and aggravated rape. So I got to do that. So sentencing people is difficult, but it's also an important part of the job because we have a guidebook. You just don't do whatever you want to do. We have sentencing guidelines, and you follow those guidelines. You're prepared for that. But it's difficult, and I think sometimes there's some guy sitting here in the penitentiary up here, and he's going to bed at night. He's thinking that Don Ash guy is the one who put me here. I didn't put him there; he put himself there. But I'm the one who pronounced the sentence.
So when you're looking at those guys across, can you see evil, or no?
Yeah, most of there have been a couple that I felt were just evil. I think I have seen that, but a lot of times, these these people are all God's children. They just somehow got off this path of just, terrible lifestyles and making terrible decisions, doing terrible things to people. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I don't know what causes that. We've had that. I don't think it's just America today. I think we've had that for 150 years. And you talked about the political stuff. I want to say this. One of my favorite authors is a guy named John Meacham. And he wrote a book called, I think, Angels Among Us or something like that. And what he does is he talks about the last 150 years of different traumatic things that happened in our country. Like in the 1910s, there was the rising up of the Ku Klux Klan. It was almost a political party here. Then there was the Depression. There was the Civil War. There have been all these great, and I grew up in the 60s, and I remember this. I remember the riots. I remember when Martin Luther King got killed. I remember when Bobby Kennedy got killed. I remember those things, and that's pretty. Times may be tough here, but I'm telling you, times been tough before. And the amazing thing about this country is we always come through.
All right, we're going to take a phone call here. I'm going to have to put our earplugs on. All right, caller, go ahead.
Hi, Dad. I just wanted to come in and say how proud I am of you and how much we love you. And as you say, love you, Dad.
Is this
So
Joy?
we're very proud of you. Yes, it is.
Oh, it's my daughter? That's not fair.
It is fair.
No, that's a penalty flag. Y'all take care of your kids. Your kids are supposed to say nice things about you. But her kids...
she's been proud of you all. I know Joy, so I get to now say this. She's like me. You're our hero.
Yeah, well, she's done a fantastic job with her job with Adoration and Hospice, but her best job is with her kids, and she's great to me. But I'm blessed. I got 4 great kids, Julia and Hugh and Taylor, and we got 10 grandkids in between us, so we've got a lot of stuff. But Joey, go get to work. Don't worry about calling about your dad, okay?
Well, we were listening, and Ash just kept saying, Judgy, I love you.
Okay. Love you too.
I wanted to call and tell you.
All right. Love you, dear.
Right.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we're going to take our final break and be right back with Judge Don Ash.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
LaGreen's Masonry is a local family business. They build quality brick mailboxes. LaGreen's Masonry has over 19 years experience, and they're A+ rated by the BBB. Check their website, lagreensmasonry.com.
At Bud's Tire Pros, we sell all major brands of tires, and we invite you to stop by today for that next set of tires. Or maybe you need us to check out your vehicle before you head out of town. We offer everything from brakes to batteries, alignments, and more. No appointments necessary, just stop on by.
I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Where is the best barbecue in town? In 1920, East Main. The best barbecue for miles around is in 1920, East Main. You can buy it by the pound, sandwich, platter, or plate. No matter what you choose, it will taste great. You can come with a friend, by yourself, or with a date. To Slick Pig Barbecue. Barbecue pork, beef, or chicken, Brunswick stew, great sides, lunch specials, down-home atmosphere, and they cater. Slick Pig Barbecue, it's the best.
This is Pastor Nikki Ajapong, the lead pastor of Holy Hill Chapel in Murfreesboro.
Hear our sermons on WGNS every Sunday night at 7:30.
Everyday life, never take it for granted.
Visit Holy Hill Chapel, tn.org to hear our podcast.
It's a blessing.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into WGNS and the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzer, founder and executive director of First Shot. I knew this hour, Judge, when I put you down on the 30th, would go by so quick because you have so much to give us in wisdom. And I think that's what we're missing today, is listening to people that have gone through what you've gone through as a judge. Sentence a guy to death is, I can't imagine just how daunting that would be. And you're not done. You're
nope.
You're still going to be sitting on cases across this great state of ours, and we just, man, anybody that has somebody in East Tennessee right now, our hearts and prayers go out to them. And you know, you're across this state. What do you love about it so much?
Yeah, that's a great question. I used to be I tell people I was an I-40 Tennessean. I would occasionally go up to UT. I'm an MTSU guy. I love MTSU. I would occasionally go up to UT for football. I went to law school in Memphis. So I was an I-40 guy. Now I don't think there's a county I've not been in. And I think I've been in every courthouse in the state. And now I try to get off the interstate and just drive the back roads. We have a beautiful state. I mean, it is just spectacular. And so I would tell people, if you get a chance, there's some great books about things to go see in Tennessee, and I've got 3 of them. So anytime the Tennessee Supreme Court says, Don, they call me and say, Don, need you go up to this county, I get out my book, and it says things to see in this county. And so I've been to Rugby, Tennessee.
What a beautiful little town.
Yeah, Rogersville, Savannah, Greenville. Greenville's one of my favorite towns I go to.
Boy, they got hit hard too, Judge.
They did. But they'll come back. That's the great thing about Tennessee. Man, they come back time and time again. But we have but I've also, to be honest with you, I've also seen a lot of poverty. Rutherford County is really blessed. We've got some poverty here, probably 20%. But you go to some of these other counties, it's 40 or 50%. And you can't even imagine what these people are living in, and they don't have jobs, and they don't have an industry around there to work. So there's a lot to do here in Tennessee to make things better. But what you said earlier, education. My mom has a little boy. My mom used to tell me, Donnie, that's what you call me, Donnie, you get an education, nobody can ever take that away from you. That's exactly right. And so the more we can do to help people be educated, and not just school, like First Shot, just the discipline of playing on a team. I've got all these grandchildren now that play baseball and volleyball, and so we end up going to all these game stuff, which is challenging to watch some of this, but it is so important to be on a team and make a sacrifice for your team and to enjoy winning and understand losing. So I think that team mentality is just super important.
Well, again, everything that you've done, you've turned into educating people. When you're in the civil court, you educated a guy like me about becoming single, right? Then you go to criminal, and then you go to have the drug rehab court here in Rutherford County, and it has helped a ton of people, and that's what people don't understand. Sitting up there on the bench is just not being the bad guy and gaveling something. It's
That's
really
true.
Seeing them as human beings and what we're supposed to do to help them. So, you know, in closing, as you continue to evolve.
Yeah.
What's next for Judge Don Ash and Rita?
Well, I got reappointed to the senior judge thing for another 4 years. So if my health stays good, I'll keep on doing this for another 4 years. But I'm working on being a better husband. I want to be a better grandfather. I like my work. I want to keep on being prepared on that, and I want to stay involved in the community because I was raised in Lebanon, and I came here in 1980. But Murfreesboro is my hometown now, and I want to keep on being part of Murfreesboro and enjoying that. And I'm thankful for friends like you. And I've really been blessed by the people that have come into my life, and I'm thankful for that.
Judge, how do we continue to get the youth involved in giving? It just seems so natural, guys our age, that we were taught it. Every other Sunday I was going to a Basher's boys home.
Yeah.
And we had to play with the kids that didn't have parents.
Yeah.
So I grew up in it. So how do we, because it's big on our heart, this community is making it better for our children.
I think one of the great sadness in our community and nationwide is the lack of both parents being involved in their children's lives. And so and government can't fix that. I think our churches need to do a better job of bringing members in or bringing people into that and being a role model for how a family should operate. But I also think there are a lot of people that don't have that. Me growing up, my dad got killed when I was 6, so it was my mother, my brother, and I. And I had a bunch of men, Bob Rochelle, a guy named Homer Sparks at the YMCA, a bunch of men that kind of stepped in. Charlie Teasley, who lives here in town, a bunch of men stepped in and said, okay, we're going to be involved in these people's lives. And there's so many men here, like me, old guys, that should be mentors to these kids that need mentors at these elementary schools, 2nd, 3rd graders. I've had teachers tell me, 2nd grade teachers tell me, they can tell who's going to be in prison by 2nd grade. And that's from a lack of mentoring or people caring about them. And so we should have an army of men and women who are going out to these schools and saying, okay, I'm retired now, or I don't have a full-time job. I'm going to go read. I'm going to go help a child read at 1st grade or 2nd grade or something like that. So I think we as a community need to do those things.
Well, it's amazing. They say the first 3 years of any child's life in school, the most important 3.
Yeah.
And you've seen the brokenness of the home.
I have.
And I've seen the brokenness of the home through a college coach's eyes, and now through a nonprofit. And we can't legislate it.
No. That's the thing. Government cannot fix it. This is a soul problem, a heart problem. And so we as a community have to get our soul and our heart and our hands moving towards saying there's not going to be a child in Rutherford County that doesn't have enough to eat. We're going to make sure, or there's not going to be a child in Rutherford County that doesn't have a father figure or a mother figure or somebody like that in their life that may just be there for a little bit. My friend Charlie Mott, who you know, I know he did that for years at a school. Can you imagine the opportunity as a 2nd or 3rd grade child to sit down with Charlie Mott and get him to read to you? And he was taking him to movies and stuff like that. What a wonderful, godly experience to have that. And so I think we as a community need to do more of that.
I think sometimes people, First Shot started off just as a give back, Judge. You know that. And it's evolved.
Yeah, it has.
Right? But I think what you're saying, and not to put words in your mouth, just show up for one child.
One. You look at my life, those guys, Homer Sparks, the YMCA, gave me that's one reason I got involved in the Boys and Girls Club. We had a terrible YMCA. Didn't have a building, nothing. This guy let me go to summer camp for free because my mom didn't have any money. And I did that, then gave me a job at the YMCA, then let me run the pool at the YMCA, and then I became the camp director at the YMCA. That man in my life, everything that if I look back at my life and you say, okay, Don, you've had a pretty good life, you've accomplished a lot, it goes back to those men who helped me when I was a little boy, who stood by me and gave me opportunities. And so that's what we need to do. We need to stand by little boys and little girls who are without, don't have anything, and we didn't have anything, and stand by them and give them an opportunity. If you do that, that legacy will live on. Homer died, 10, 15 years ago. The Homer Sparks legacy lives in me. If I've touched any lives, it goes back to Homer Sparks and Bob Rochelle and Jack Lowry, different folks like that.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all had those. We can think of all those guys.
Yeah.
I have one right now, and a lot of people didn't like him when he was at UT coaching. Jerry Green, we've just buried one of my teammates, but Jerry Green forever was my parent.
Yeah.
And he gave me opportunities just like
what
you.
What a gift.
Just help one kid.
Take one.
Just take, and I just wish, I wish we'd do a better job of it.
Yeah.
In our community, because these young boys and girls just want to be loved.
They do. That's all anybody wants, is just be loved and supported. And if not, what happens is then they go to drugs, or they go to a relationship they don't need to be in for that love or support. And so they're going to get it. They're going to get it from somewhere. And do they get it from a moral person who can be a great example to them, or do they get it from drugs and alcohol, or from a relationship that's damaging to them? Pick.
And it's amazing how many of those people you've seen in front of you, and it's got to be heartbreaking.
I've seen their children. I've seen it go through. I've seen I've seen the guy, and then I've seen his children come through the system too. Same thing. I mean, it is heartbreaking, but you got to celebrate the victories. If you get consumed by the defeats all the time, you'll never celebrate the victory. So I think it's more important to celebrate the victories.
Well, for the next 4 years, I hope you again have a fantastic ride, and you and Rita, such wonderful people in this community. I think people don't understand how blessed we are to have a guy like you be our judge, and you will forever be my hero. But I'm going to do my shameless plug. I do it one time a day. So
let's hear it.
First Shot will open up tomorrow, our Winter League. We have pre-sold it to our past participants. So there's only about 100 spots left. So you can go to firstshottn.org, hit the Winter League tab, and you can sign up for camp, boys and girls, ages 5 through 14. And we'd love to see your kid there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Judge Ash, thanks for coming.
Thanks. Have a blessed day.
You too.